you doing, good people? This is Dave Bidan. Okay, so today's game is the first of a trilogy on the NES, which led to a sequel on the Game Boy, um, and another trilogy on current last gen and current gen consoles. All right, so and it's from Tecmo. You play as a ninja. Blase, blase, blah. You know what this game is. You know what the series is. It's notorious for being one of the most difficult series of video games ever created, more so than Ghosts and Goblins or Contra or any other series. It's a platformer. Well, at least the original NES trilogy was a platformer. Um, there's solid action games, though they are notorious for not only being difficult but being cheap with its difficulty. The game today is Ninja Gaiden. Now, Ninja Gaiden is based, like I said, on a pretty lackluster beat 'em up from 1988. But Tecmo did what they did with Tecmo Bowl beforehand, Mighty Bomb Jack, Solomon's Key, and Rygar. And they changed some things up. They restructured the gameplay. Instead of it being a scrolling beat 'em up, it's a platformer, side-scrolling platformer. And they crafted a storyline revolving around revenge, monsters from another dimension, saving the world, maybe a little bit of a Japanese horror story thrown in there, a little bit of everything. And what we got was a game that told such a good story and handled so well control-wise, and had such a beautiful soundtrack that we didn't really pay attention to how ridiculously difficult it was. It was almost cheap in its difficulty. The Ninja Gaiden games, well, the first game in the series, starts off with Ryu Hayabusa getting a letter because his father went off to a duel. And his father lost that duel, apparently, as you see from the opening cutscene. Mind you, this is one of the first games that featured animated cutscenes like that. And they looked really good. They were groundbreaking and incredible. Well, Ryu gets this letter and he's told to take a family heirloom, the Dragon Sword, to America to an archaeologist friend of his father's named Walter Smith. And Ryu follows his father's wish, as well as deciding that he's going to use this opportunity to find out what happened and get his revenge. So, during the course of this game, Ryu confronts a series of villains and CIA operatives and a terrorist organization and all these people who are trying to raise up this demon from another dimension. And so the enemies start to be less human and more demonic the more you fight through the game. Ninja Gaiden had a few really good things going for it. It had a sub-weapon system similar to the one in Castlevania, with some really good weapons, most notably the Fire Wheel and the Windmill Throwing Star, which were staples in the series up until this new trilogy. The new trilogy started on the original Xbox. Your wall jump, which is something that is still prevalent in the Ninja Gaiden series, and a lot of really hardcore action. Lots of enemies on the screen, um, and it's really fast paced. The only problem is the enemies. Let's use one example. There's a section in the game where you have to make a jump over a gap, and there's an enemy right on the edge of the screen. Well, if you kill that enemy, you don't move forward. That enemy, and you somehow get knocked back. That enemy will respawn, and that enemy will continue to respawn unless you kill it and move forward immediately. This can be problematic considering you're over a pit. There are lots of moments like this in Ninja Gaiden where it's feast or famine, you're going to die regardless of what happens. But the game is such a good game that these moments don't frustrate. And so the more you play, the deeper into the game you get, the more story you face, and the more you enjoy what you're doing. And it's a good thing that the Ninja Gaiden, well, the first two games, have unlimited continues. Third game, they only gave you 5, which made that game, I don't really know too many people who've ever beaten Ninja Gaiden 3. But all in all, the first game in the series, the first Ninja Gaiden title, was a great lead off into an incredible trilogy. One that is extremely popular. So, you get instances where prices on eBay can get kind of incredibly asinine. And 2, where the game itself, the games themselves, still hold up pretty well to this day. So much so that in the last decade, during the last console generation, Tecmo decided to revive the Ninja Gaiden franchise. Since Ryu Hayabusa was already being used as a character in the Dead or Alive series, it was pretty easy to do that. And to this day, the Ninja Gaiden series is still one of the more well-known series of video games on the market. You should definitely pick up the 3 NES Ninja Gaiden titles. If you have the money or you can find a copy, there was actually a compilation cart on the Super NES titled Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. And you'll know it because it features the box art for all 3 games. But that game is incredibly rare, so you'd probably do better just getting the individual NES cards. Again, if you're a fearless gamer, I recommend all 3 games in the Ninja Gaiden series, especially the first one. It's a great game. This has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I will catch you beautiful people tomorrow.